If your business cannot pay you and you don't understand how much comes in your business,
just close it. Go home.
Please.
Go home.
Just look for a job. Like you're not... One of the things I'm going to tell you, you'll be, in the coming near future, you might never see wealth. Yes.
Jane, be nice.
You
be nice to my audience. They'll be like, today, what's happening?
I tell you the truth. Things that make your life more interesting, but you wouldn't die if you did not take a massage, right?
Well,
so that's how you get to...
Ish. I need my massages, but yeah.
You need it, but you wouldn't die. But
money may not be everything, but money affects everything that is important.
So one of the things, budgeting is actually as a way of telling your money what to do for you, and not just giving money the freedom of doing what it have to do.
Kwanza kuna this thing you said, making money is easy. Managing the money is hard. Yeah. Why is that the case for so many people?
The boundaries.
As someone who has heavily paid the black tax in full plus tax on top of the black tax, I would say I think as an African child, there's this mentality, Africanacity. That's absolutely Africanacity. We have to be together. We have to be, like, it doesn't matter if one of us has a shortcoming in the financial sense, like you have to fill the gaps, especially if you're a firstborn. You just somehow lazima ubebe the entire family. I don't know who drilled this into our heads, because if you go to Nigeria, if you go to South Africa, if you go to Egypt, any African on this planet, they feel like they have to give back. And we, even from the tiny, you're 2 years, unaambiwa, ebu kuwa haraka ukuje unisaidie kuosha vyombo, ebu kuwa haraka ukuje unisaidie. So I don't know how you can move someone from that mentality of, it is almost a birthright, not a birthright.
It's like you have to do it.
If you don't do it, you are cursed. If you don't do it, people will talk bad about you. If you don't do it, you are the black sheep. So how do we just let people enjoy their money without feeling guilty? Okay,
one of the things that I really tell people, like, healing from a problem is one thing, and I think it's just the same as just going to therapy, Like the moment you just realize you have a problem with black tax and you don't even have enough to sort your things and you want to change the story, like we're always saying that I want to change that. I want to be the change that never happened. I want to be the beginning of generational wealth. I want to be the beginning of this and this and this. So one of the things, you have to set very strict boundaries. And I don't know how many times I'll have to tell people that those people who have money, they actually don't give money easily. They're actually called mean people. The wealthy people don't have money. And I think... Really? Yes. And I think even Chris Kirubi once said, he's the meanest person around. Because all their money is committed. You already know what you need to do with your money. So the reason why you're also promoting the black tax, and the reason why you're not even thinking about just changing the story and being the start of the generational wealth, it's because you also have liquid money. You don't know what to do with your money.
With that money.
You just don't know. But the moment that you know that I have to set a retirement fund, and my retirement fund have to be worth 50 million, or 100 million. Like, that's the figure in your mind. This is the lifestyle I want. You want a beach house. You want you just understand how that picture, you have it in mind. Then now you narrow it down, pen and paper, to the amount of money that you need. And you start saving like around 30,000. You already know in the next 30 years with my 30,000, I'm only going to have 10 million. So where am I going to get the 90,000? The 90 million. So meaning you're going to be a mean person because you have something chasing you. So I feel the overgiving and the black tax is also like a product of mismanagement of money. You already don't have goals. You already don't have idea of what you want your money to do for you. So you're just out there giving it. You have it.
I don't like this advice, Jane. I don't like it. But I have to take it anyway. Yeah, it's the truth. So is it management? Does this start with the parents or the entire older society, which expects the younger kids to give to them? Or is it the younger kids or the young adults who are making money and don't know how to manage, so they feel like they need to give people their money?
So I
Where
think
does the problem lie?
It just began with our parents, but now we are better human beings because we went to school.
But will we let our parents suffer? Will we
No,
let our
you're not going to let them
suffer?
But
our cousins are not in school.
No,
The seventh child is walking barefoot
they're
in the
depending on
village.
Anita. That is
Yeah.
your reasoning. But let me tell you, have you ever sat down and thought, if you lost your source of income today, would these people die?
Imagine they will continue living.
And have you ever thought, if you told them that maybe you were getting an income of 1 million, now you're getting an income of 500,000, so I have to cut half that amount of money. You know, they will live a better life than they were even living, because now they can they have the urge of going out there and looking for the money. You're promoting poverty because you're making them lazy. What I call lazy.
Guys, do not promote poverty like me, please. Let people work for their money.
But I mean, I'm not saying like you purely run away from the responsibilities and taking care of your family, but the whole point is to just have clear boundaries. And whatever we talked about, budgeting is very important, and communicate to them. Don't go out there showing people you have money. Can you let them know you have money on their own, not you showing them? Because the moment you show me that every time we meet with you, you are the one who is paying the bill.
Yeah.
What makes you think that I'm not going to borrow you 50,000 that is never going to come back? You have already shown me, you know. You are the one who have set the pace.
Today
you
I'm
know?
being attacked on my own podcast, guys. Send help.
So I feel like the strict boundaries, and it's actually, let me tell you, if you still take care of your family, or you have black tax, or you do the minimum, you know, like you're supposed to do more but you feel you do the minimum, but you always feel the guilt after you have helped someone, I don't think you're doing it right. Even biblically, when you're giving someone and showing love, you should never feel like I made the wrong decision. I don't feel that you showed love. I feel like you're just pushing yourself to a very toxic place. So you just feel like when you have strict boundaries, like telling your parents, if today, Anita, you were giving me 10,000 and you tell me, like, I lost my job, I can only get 2,000, I'm going to also push down my expenses to the 2,000 that you're affording. So I always even tell my clients that if you are working on black tax, we are not going to just cut everything down, but you're going to show them, like right now I have to get 5,000 to go to my retirement plan. So if I was giving 10,000, I can only afford 5,000 because now I have a reason for the other 5,000, you know. So if you communicate to them and tell them, don't call me in the middle of the month because now I'm getting my salary every month. So even if you call me, and some other tricks we have used with some of my clients. Some of these parents even have more money than you. You know, some of our parents
have money.
They have
hiding
assets.
It from us, eh?
They have acres of land. They have livestock. They are living in their own homes. If you were to do a net worth, yours will be negative. Theirs will be maybe 5 million. So who is richer? So you're taking care of the rich people, you know?
But, you know, anyway, I have a feeling, this is something I feel like happens a lot, especially in western side of Kenya. Like, whether, even if your parent has 10 acres of land, they still need a monthly allowance from you. They still need you to take care of it, like from head to toe. And sadly, I don't know how we'll ever fix it, but you've said we are promoting toxic relationships with our parents, which we should cut off. Okay, not cut off.
Gradually
reduce and improve on our better budgeting and not promote such behaviors. Now, back to retirement planning. When is it ever too early to start retirement planning? When do you advise someone now hop into retirement planning? Start it. How? All right. Talking of retirement, you know, me when I hear the word retirement, I think about 60, 70. I am old and gray. I cannot even like talk. I'm walking on a stick. When should we start picturing that person having a comfortable life? How and when should we start on retirement?
Now, retirement is not actually a determinant of age. It's actually a determinant of age when you don't have the money. Footballers retire at what age? Some even at 30s, you know.
You guys, I'm being hurt on my own show. Let me just say, today I'm being hurt on my own show.
You don't have money, so you want to work until 60. No one wants to work. You know, retirement is just taking it slow.
All right.
It's just taking it slow in life and just now eating your money. Eating your wealth, you know. That's what retirement is
all about.
It's not more of age. I really don't. When you sit down with a financial advisor and your consultation is more of age, you have a long way with money. Yeah, a very long way, by the way. So one of the consideration is, one of the ways to make sure that you have a solid retirement plan is, I'm always saying that your savings and investment portfolio is a reflection of the kind of a person you are. So where you're, me as a financial advisor, the moment you tell me this is where I save, this is the amount of money that I save, I already have a projection of the kind of a person you are and what you will be at that particular point, you know. So one of the things around retirement planning, it's not of age. So the earlier you start, the better for you, because it means you can retire early. We have the early retirement, which is the goal of many millennials. Ask millennials, when do you want to retire? At 40, at 50, but you're working until 70. If God give us the 70. Most millennials actually might end up being the most broke generation. This is basic, because we are glorifying other people than us.
Guys, I need water and I need air, because this girl is not speaking to me nicely today.
No, you are Gen Z.
I'm a Gen Z buddy. I'm a older, what should I tell? Older Gen Z.
But Zillennials,
Zinel.
So one of the things, and I, if I was to speak, and if I was to even call out people, I would concentrate on that generation. And I just love the Gen Z people, because those people, they kind of somehow know they want to do something different. So,
and they actually do it.
Yeah, so somehow they're the people who are even actually thinking about, I can retire at 40, but how do I make sure that I retire at 40? But millennials, I want to retire at 40, but you don't know how. So you don't even care how you want. We want. We are manifesting, guys. We want. Exactly. So the best time to start planning for your retirement is immediately you have a source of income. Immediately.
Even if you're 18, 19,
yes,
20.
So I mean, that's 10 years ago for most of us. The first time you got your first salary.
Guys. Wacha tu tuendelee, because we're here and we're being told the truth. Now, talking of which, like, we should have started earlier, right? Now, maybe some of us, we're still trying to catch on. Like me, I'm learning. Nikitoka hapa now, probably I'll research on how to have I'll see you, guys. She's actually a financial advisor. We should go and book her and keep her busy with our finances.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to age, how should a 20-year-old think when it comes to retirement, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old? What is the differences in the retirement savings planning for these people?
First of all, for those people who have the advantage of age, age is something that gives you options. Like you're not going to be young anymore. Yeah. So if you are able to, I know, like, first of all, planning for retirement, it means like you're so ambiguous with your goals. Like you think you'll be that 50, you think you'll be 55. So you need a lot of motivation to stay grounded. So for someone who is 20 years, most of the time I know the fallout of the motivation, because you're like, see, I'm still young.
Yeah,
so even my sister is 40 and they're not saving for retirement. So why should I do it? But taking advantage of your 20s. And I always tell people, in your 20s, focus on three things, three main things. The first thing is to have sources of income. I'm not saying a source of income. As a person in your 20s, you can make all the mistakes in the world. Yeah. So you can try business, you can be employed. You are a person who can even transnight. So you are a person who can even work 2 or 3 jobs in a day, because you're young, you're vibrant. So focus on making the sources of income, which people in their 50s are trying to have. Yeah, that's what they are trying to have. So if you have the advantage of having the money in your 20s, focus on having the passive income. This is where now you're trying to have different sources of income. Also build yourself, like work on your skills, make them as perfect as possible. As I said, in your 20s, you can make all the mistakes in your world, And then now, in your 20s is also where you introduce yourself now to things like sinking funds. These are the future expenses you anticipate for, like maybe the retirement money. If I sit down with you, 2 things at the end of the day, you must have an emergency fund. Yeah. Because if you don't have an emergency fund, you're going to be depressed in case you lost your job. Who will pay for your rent? No one. Some of us cannot even changa for our rent. There's no way you are changaing 30K. How? For 2 months, 3, 4,000 you can changa. Because if I ask you for 2,000, I ask another person for 2,000. It's easier, So emergency fund, very important. My people in your 20s, do that.
Make sure you have
and
something.
Make sure the minimum is not 6. months worth of emergency fund, make it even 12 months. It gives you more freedom, you know.
Like the more the better.
The more the better. And for you, because you don't have a lot of things happening, you can be able now to do more. And then the retirement fund. Paint that picture of how you want your retirement fund to look like. Don't be boring. Be as creative and imaginary as possible. Think yourself in a very different continent with your wife, no kids, or with kids. Just be as creative as possible.
Now she's taking my language. Different continents, you know, beach house, you know.
And now work towards it. Because when you're in your 30s, the reality starts hitting. This is when now you're starting your family. This is when you are getting maybe your second child, your first child, your first car. There's so many transitioning that happen between 30 and 40. So many things. So most of the time, this is when now you're figuring life out. This is when now you're like, okay, so someone can buy a land. So someone can, if you're able to do that even in your 20s, the better. But sometimes I really recommend, don't try to do those things in your 20s, because most of the time in your 20s, if you buy a land right now in Kamulu, maybe in your 30s, you might realize, I actually wanted to live in Kiambu. So you have a lot of time to even grow and even realize yourself. So most of the time, hold your money in passive investments, because it's easy to liquidify. And also, the train is constant. You don't have now a land which you have to sell, you know. So those are the concentration. Now 30 and 40, a very critical place. This is where you either mess up your finances forever by one of the things, getting into debt. This is where most people now are introduced to circle loans. This is where people get to understand their mobile loans. This is where people get to understand their friendly loans, where you can borrow money from your friends and even default, because it's in the law of Kenya, before maybe a judgment is made, it's actually 1 year, atakuwa ame lose hope, so they will never recover their money. So 30 to 40, the people around that age, they have a lot of information and they don't know where to begin. So if you started in your 20s, it's easier because you have a trajectory. You're just transitioning into a different life zone. But at this particular point, your concentration mostly is, if you are having a family, how are they going to be? Maybe when I'll be paying school fees for my kids, like do we have to live maybe in a rented house? Do we need to build a home? Now, your goals are more clear, because now you have maybe the soulmate you are looking for. Like you can make these long-term decisions more easily.
You have more clarity.
Exactly. If you have not decided on your emergency and retirement fund, you are late, but you can still start. It's going to take a toll on you, because now when you're talking about an emergency fund of a person who is in their 30s and they're married with a kid, the expenses is not the same as someone who is in their 20s without a child.
Or a spouse.
So it might be so hard maybe to set up that, but it's still okay. So at this particular point, your focus is to just have a shape of that future that you really want and the people around you. And I have to mention this. If you're working towards changing the family that you came from, do not break the family that you're building. Because I think that's one of the problems that we have. Most people prioritize where you came from. So you're building your family a home. You're even paying school fees for everyone else, and then you're forgetting about your kids.
And I feel like that now builds up the resentment or the expectation of wanting your kid to do the same for you, because you did it for your parents.
Exactly.
And the cycle continues.
So at this particular point, your first concentration is these people you brought to this world, the family you are building. Your main concentration if I find a person in their 30s who's not loving themselves better, and loving themselves is working on your finances to make sure that you don't have stress. Your life is free life. So if I find that, I'm really worried, because I know this is another problem we are creating in the future. Because it means that you might get into debt. By the time you recovering from debt in your 40s.
It's so hard.
At that point, you have a Gen Z who was employed, if you're in employment. At that particular point, you have a business that is booming. Another Gen Z just came up with an idea.
And it just
And now your business is not the story, the talk of town, and now you're not making the sales like they were. So at that particular point, you might even have your source of income is just getting threats. It's going down. If you do not have investment and you have loans, it's very bad. So 40s to 50. This is a point now where the reality is hitting you. This is where the life starts. This is where now you know. This is where you're eating from your youth.
Yeah.
Like if you had investments, this is where now you're getting the passive income. If you did not have, now life is kicking you very hard because you have kids in high school. You have so many things to do.
Going on.
But a constant, even if you don't dream, even if you don't have to do other things, a constant for any person in any age bracket, make sure that you have an emergency fund and a retirement. Even if I say so many things,
don't forget that one.
Those two, because an emergency fund is going to save you. It's going to help you work on your mental health. Because if COVID happen again, you can bulk shop. You can, you know.
Yeah, the way we was talking
exactly.
About
some people did not even stock because what are you stocking with? What are you? You don't have the money,
you know. And we also said something about we are often depressed when we don't have money. How do you put it? It's not that you're depressed. It's just that you don't have money. Because when you have money,
when you have the money, you don't even remember you had a
options,
problem.
You have, you can shida ni nini, shingapi.
So try to look for the money, and then now we can talk if it's a problem.
Yes. So talking of as we're wrapping this up, talking of retirement savings, what are some of the unique investment opportunities we have as Kenyans that maybe people don't know? Just a simple one that you can tell someone, check this out, do this for your retirement, something very basic.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't think there's anything people have not heard about, but I'm going to mention because most people might not have a good picture of how a retirement should look like. Yeah. So one of the things at retirement, you will need to have an income. Okay. Even if you might have properties, your net worth will be on the roof and everything, you need to have an income. So that's the first concentration. And that's why we recommend the pension plans. Because they're going to give you the payouts of the income, the money, the cash, Now you will be liquid. Now, if you have the luxury of having to be in real estate, owning some few apartments somewhere and you're getting rent, that's also an added advantage. If you happen to have a business, like if you are running a very good business, a successful business, that's a very good way of also having a good retirement plan, because it means you're also creating generational wealth. This is something you can pass down even to your kids. But I think I'm going to mention the after retirement. Yeah. Most people don't have an idea of what do I do now with the retirement money. I think that's the whole problem. The what you do before is out there, but the after. So if you are retired, and if you're planning to retire, one of the things you need to do, consult a financial advisor before you even touch your retirement money. Okay. That's the first thing, because I have seen people who get their 50 million, they go start a business. You have never even run a business in your life for the rest of, and then now you're hit with like, okay, so it was not just boosting Facebook ads and then you make sales. So there were a lot of things. And then remember, you don't have the energy at retirement. If you are working with age, definitely. So one of the things that you need to know is to have a financial advisor. There are opportunities like annuities. These are things people are not told about. We have the annuities where you can be able to give an insurance company some amount of money and now they have to pay you an income. We have things like bonds. They don't have an age limit. So if you did not create a bond portfolio, then you can still do it at that particular point. So the whole point is to make sure that you have the passive income. Because I have also seen people, you get at retirement and then you have 50 million. And then you decide, let me take this 50 million and build a flat.
That is like the most Kenyan way to do things. We believe you have to have land and flats. Otherwise, usipokuwa landlord, hauna pesa.
Hauna pesa, wewe si. But let me tell you, people have money. Wealthy people actually, I don't think that their wealth portfolio in real estate, it's like ni kidogo sana. The other portfolios they have, because we have so many investments that you can. The whole problem is you having first that money, the accumulation phase, which you talked about, you having to save that money. Now you have 1 million and you're wondering, where do I take my 1 million? Money. That's now is the whole successful story of financial freedom journey.
Wow. Wow. So guys, see, today we've gotten so much gems. Tukafunge. See, we can go home now. Thank you for the financial freedom gems you've given us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Jane, for coming on our show. And she will be back soon. Hopefully, you will come back to our
yes,
show.
I will come back.
And guys, go flood her Instagram, follow her. Keep her busy, keep her booked and busy, because as you can see, if this is just the tip of the iceberg, you can imagine what more she has to share on a personal level. Thank you so much, Jane. And we're so glad to have you. Thank you, guys. Remember to share, subscribe, comment, like, share with your grandma, share with your grandpa, share with your uncle, because it's a family-friendly show. The Review Podcast. Thank you. Bye. Okay.